Hi everyone, my name's Mike and welcome to this video, which is the latest in the series on classic bikes that we've been doing. Today this one is really close to my heart. It's the bike that I've known the longest, and it's the oldest bike in the series that we've done so far. It's a 1955 Ariel SQ4 and it belongs to Richard and Stewart, his son. Now Stewart and I have been mates since the early 70s. I think it was probably 1974. I would have been 14 and Stu would have been 12 or 13 that we became mates. And when I first met Stu, he was showing me bits of motorbike engine and you know, all around the house he had engine bits in his airing cupboard, or linen closet as our American friends would call it, and it was the Ariel SQ4, and there's a fantastic backstory to it. But yeah, I've known this bike for ages and ages, and it's just always been there. And then the guys decided to get it going, and this video is the story of that. Now this is a work in progress, so we'll be doing follow-up videos on this bike, but I just thought it would make a great video, really interesting, and it's an ongoing build video. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and thank you very much for your comments and your encouragement, and it really does mean a lot to us that you are interested in what we're doing and what we're putting out. So if you'd like to see more, we've got plenty more coming up. We've got some Japanese stuff that's coming up, and we've got some Harleys that we're doing. So if you'd like to keep in touch with us, please click the like, subscribe and the little notification bell so that you get notified when a new video comes online. And yeah, just come along with us on the journey, because we're really enjoying it, and I hope you guys are too. So with that, on with the show, and I'll hand over to Richard and Stu.
So, I'm Stuart, this is my father Richard, as Mike said. Now this is an Ariel SQ4 Mark II. The reason we can tell it's a Mark II is it's got the two exhausts. The forerunner to this, the Mark I, had one exhaust with a manifold on the side, and the ones before that were all 600s. We're porting this as a 1955-1956. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's registered as a 55, but the front shouldn't be like this. It's got the full width drum and the cowled headlights, which the 55 wouldn't have had. Now also, when this came to us, we had aluminium mudguards on it. Another story where they went, but we ended up getting these from the Stafford Bike Show, and I think they're BSA. The original ones will have a swage line down the inside.
Well, what's the story, Stu?
Right, so the story is my elder brother was in the pub in Upton by Chester, and he was chatting to a bloke who'd come back from the
Dragon Rally in North Wales.
The Dragon Rally in North Wales, and seized a back cylinder on his Ariel SQ4, this one.
He got it back to Neston, where he lived, and offered it to Alan, and Alan went and bought it. He got his mate, Frank Whaley, had a van, so they went to Neston and towed it back to Chester and dumped it.
So they towed this with a van on the end of a rope.
And how much did they pay?
Alan paid him £5.
So this was purchased, we think, 1970 for £5. However, had a seized cylinder. Alan didn't want to do anything with it, so
I paid Alan £5 and registered it in my name in 19...
Well, it was purchased in the 70s. We've got an MOT that's from 70 to 71, and that was Cameron's in Neston,
and it had a sidecar on it.
And it had a sidecar on it on the MOT. So obviously the sidecar's gone. My dad's stripped it down, and we've got all receipts of work done, parts bought, all during the 70s. So in the 70s, early 70s, my father was buying bits. The front wheel was done.
We bought stuff from JT Healy. We bought a new cylinder block.
That's in the Midlands, is it?
Are they the ones that made the Healy 1000 later
That's
on?
the one.
Yeah. So that was their involvement in the square 4 engine. So in the 70s, I would have been a school kid, and all I was interested in was changing the handlebars on my push bike. I think in them days everyone was going for cow horns, and I was just putting on my bike whatever I found in the garage. So I would have said I used to turn up at school with the Ariel SQ4 handlebars on my push bike, or Greaves, or various other Bridgestones, various other bikes that were in the garage at the time. One of the things, and Michael backed me up on this, one of the things that made me aware that there was a bike around was all the bits, once they were done and refurbed, ended up migrating into the house. So we had an airing cupboard. Some of you will have to Google that. I don't know whether you'll know what it is, but we had an airing cupboard, and in the bottom of the airing cupboard was the crankcases and conrods. Various other parts were in the wardrobes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's when I first met you. I came round and I saw an Ariel SQ4 block in the airing cupboard.
Which most houses would have had in the 70s, I would imagine. So, what happened then?
Well, the frame was put in the side of the garage and was left there until
For how long?
For 30
So-
odd years.
So I would imagine with having, I'm the sort of second youngest of 4, so I imagine with having children and a house and a job, sometimes things get put on the back burner. So this got put on the back burner till 2016, when I went to visit my dad, and he said, we need to do something. So what we did was we got every piece of engine that we could think of, or part that we thought was something to do with the Ariel SQ4, and I photographed every single piece with a little number by it and wrote down a description of what we thought it was. I then googled somebody that could possibly help us with the rebuild, and we ended up phoning up Robin James in Leicester, and I spoke to a guy there, and I said, could we send you a fire stick with some photographs on? And they said, we're old school, we don't do it like that. So we just loaded all the bits into the back of the car, drove down there, and they had one that they'd just done, a 56 for a German guy, and they just fired it up. So that gave us a little bit of insight into their ability. So what happened then?
We said we'd do the frame, so there was a hole in the bottom of the frame which we welded up. There was a dent in one of the front telescopic forks, which we repaired, and we got it shot blasted at Buckley.
Yeah, so we've had the frame shot blasted, we've had it stove enamelled.
Weren't the lugs on it for a sidecar?
Yeah, but some of the lugs that we found are for a different size tank, and some have like a little toolbox, which we have. So we had a lot of stuff. So we had a lot of stuff that came with this that we weren't sure whether it went on. So obviously we were getting in touch with Robin James and saying, we think we're ready for you. So I think it took us 2 years. So after 2 years, we took the frame, which was like a rolling chassis, up to Robin James, and they started assembling the engine. And then we got the call to say we could go and pick it up. Unfortunately, it was in the middle of the thing called the pandemic. So we had to wait till 2020 July. We went down and we had the first fire up, and between us we rode it back from Leominster, which is probably 60 odd miles.
Yeah, easy. Probably 80 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've actually got some footage of that first fire up, which I'll put at the end of this.
So when I heard it fire in 2020, that was the first time it had run since the 70s.
And the last time.
And I'd never heard it. I'd heard others. We were members of the Ariel Owners Club. We'd been to Pershaw, to one of the meetings there, and that's when we sort of showed photographs, and they were saying, oh, that's not right. And so the purists will tell you there's bits on it that shouldn't be. It is a work in progress. The idea is to try and get the motor right. As you probably know, we've come out, we've done some shots, and it's stopped. So we need to get to the bottom of why it runs. So we've just been interrupted there by a horse, and if you look on the sign, it is actually the Iron Horse. That's what they our monthly magazine is called, the Iron Horse. We get that. That's where you can get your spares and your information from. So hopefully we'll get them to sort that out.
So what are your next plans with it then?
To get it running reliably. That's it.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because I think when we first picked it up for the first few months, we had one mishap, and we'd been to Ellesmere, or we were heading to Ellesmere, and I was riding it. There was the Lemon Drizzle Gang out for a run, and the rear tyre deflated. I managed to keep it under control. It was a little bit speedway-esque, and
it had actually blown the valve out. I hadn't got a puncture, it blew the valve out, didn't it?
Yeah, I was hoping there would be something in the tyre, so a fast deflate, the tyres moved on the rim and ripped the valve out. But that's the same tyre, we've checked it all. So that was one thing. And then, because of that, the bike sat for a while. So I don't think they like that. That's one of the things with classic bikes, I would say, is that you need to know what you're doing and keep on top of them. So we're going to try and get it running reliable. We'll then, these parts of the tank are actually chrome, and there should be chrome here. That was all gone. This is the original tank, so that tank will then go away, be chromed and repainted. Again, we've chatted to somebody at the Stafford show that actually makes brand new
authentic
mud guards for it, so that will be another one to get. So this is now a family heirloom. It's been with us for since the 70s, so I think it'll stick with us.
We won't say how much we've spent on it, or will we?
I think the guys watching this will know exactly.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
tell their wives.
It's
Well, we don't know exactly, but we must be 10-12,000.
but again, since the 70s, it's not much years.
So, is it the ultimate plan to get it to Classic TT?
Yeah, I'd like to. You'd like to ride it around the Isle of Man, wouldn't you?
Oh, just asking a bit though. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a little bit like the guys that are we're trying to take part in the TT0. You've just got to get it to do that 37 3/4 miles without breaking down. Yeah. So
Brilliant.
yeah, that would be it. That would be lovely. I think that's it always. Whenever we pull up, we've been out. I've been out with the Lemon Drizzle Gang a few times with this, and every time we pull up, somebody comes and says, "I used to have one of them. My uncle used to have one of them." You don't see many of those. I think that was the thing with the SQ4. Not particularly fast. I think they were getting more power out of the twin. It's the same guy that designed the Edward Turner. So this was his sort of fag packet. This is what we can do. I suppose it's a bit like
cigarette packet.
Yeah.
Can't say that.
I suppose it's a little bit like the Bugatti Veyron. It just showed what they could do. A lot of them went to America. So whenever you see videos of them or parts, when we were looking for parts for it, it was like, oh, here's one, and it's in America.
Cool. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much for that. And I think what we're going to do with it is we'll just keep doing videos as the build continues.
Yeah.
You know, once you get it up. And the other interesting thing that Stu's got on at the moment is he's got a Hinckley Trident
92, yeah.
And you're building that into a CRK cafe racer.
Yeah, you can actually buy kits, so all the subframe, the changing of the electrical positions and stuff like that, and a real stylish tank that doesn't hold any petrol. But yeah, you can buy all that stuff, so it is a build, but it should be a lot easier than what we did on this.
So we'll try and follow that on film as well, and yeah, we'll eat plenty of drizzle cake while we're doing it.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Lemon Drizzle Gang. My father isn't, but I'm pretty sure that he could probably make a mean lemon drizzle cake.
Sure. Yeah. He's an honorary member.
Honorary member, so yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. That's wonderful.
Thanks a lot.
You know it's on gear.
Yeah, it's took gear as well, yeah.
Right.
And then should.
So that's just stone cold.
Not continuous. Yeah. I'm walking soon.
Sounds fabulous, doesn't it?
Nice.
It's so hot now, it sounds good. It's just getting
Yeah,
warm.
you can hear it just
Hear it just starting
hit
to
fluffy.
drop it a bit.
So hot.
It's just down to there. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Okay, so this is Mike, me riding it now. So first off, I just want to mention there's a bit of a stumble, bit of a misfire, which you can probably hear. But as we've said earlier in this video, it is a work in progress, and you know, you can hear it's a little bit fluffy. So it doesn't detract from the riding of it too much, and I kind of sort of ride round it, do my best anyway. So what's it feel like? Well, it is a 50s bike, and it does feel a bit alien to modern riders. So you've got the gear change on the right, and it's the opposite pattern to what we now know as normal, which is the same as the Norton, but I did struggle with it a bit on this bike because the front brake doesn't really do much. It's a bit like squeezing a lemon. It doesn't slow you down too much, and you have to brake with the rear brake. So I found, listen to this, when it does clear its throat, it goes really well. So yeah, as I was saying, it is quite a, no, it's not difficult to ride, but it's not an easy ride, and I think that's more to do with my lack of being able to multitask than anything else. But look at this, you know, as it clears its throat, off it goes, lifts up its skirts, and it flies. The other thing is how good the chassis is on it. The suspension's quite bouncy. It's got jam pot rear suspension, and it's got, you know, 1950s front forks and springing, so you know it's not going to corner like a modern bike. But it holds the road really well and it turns in really well, which really surprised me. And the other thing is that I've always thought that the SQ4, you know, was a real genteel bike, a cruising bike, you know, the sort that a chap with a pipe and deerstalker hat would purchase, whereas in reality, you know, as you can see in here, it's a bit of a hooligan. You know, it likes to go. Oh, I mess up this corner and gear change a bit. But in other ways, you know, it's comfortable. The seating position's nice on it. The ergonomics are nice. I won't say it's modern, but it's a motorbike. You know, it's not like you're riding a spaceship from a different planet. It is a very different experience, but one of the things I really love is that big chronometric speedometer that you're looking at. It's the Smiths ones that click, it's click, click, click instead of the smooth flow round. I love seeing that. You see it on the big Vincents. I think I turned the bike round about now. See, I've got to keep it revving. See, I don't even go near the front brake. So, yeah. Okay, so I turned it around on the way back now. So, and the sound of it, I'm trying to place what it reminds me of. The closest I could come up with is, nice gear change, Mike, is something like a 1950s sports car, like an Aston Martin or a XK Jaguar. It's got that same raughty, and it, you know, it's that sort of feeling. It's a fantastic thing, really. Yeah, it's amazing for me to ride this bike after so many years of knowing it, and especially on these roads. Because when Stewart and I were growing up, we were young, mad, motorbike mad. Young fellas, and our friends had mopeds, you know, like FS1Es and Garellis and, you know, that sort of thing, and we used to come down these lanes. So it's on these lanes that Stu and I basically learned to ride motorbikes, and, you know, since then we've both done road racing together, and, you know, we're still riding bikes. God knows how many years, 45 years later, we're still mates and we're still riding the bike. So it's a fantastic experience for me to ride this bike, and it'll be really interesting to follow the build. And you know, I think it's going back to Robin James. It's done over 1,000 miles now, so, you know, it's fully run in. So they're going to take it back there, and no doubt they'll fix this misfire. And as Stuart said, do a bit more on the cosmetics on it. So we'll be closely following the build, and you know, a couple of years' time, it'll be great. I think my ultimate thing is to be able to do a videoed lap of the Isle of Man, or at least go over the mountain on it. That would be fantastic. I think I'll probably put the camera on Stuart and let him ride it over there. Yeah, because of the misfire, I'm having to rev it a bit. It's probably pretty antisocial. This is the village where we grew up. Nobody knows me here now, so I've moved away many years ago. But yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to ride this bike in this setting, and to be given the chance to ride the bike. So I'd really like to thank Richard for letting me ride the bike, and trusting me to ride the bike, because I know it's, as Stuart says, it's a family heirloom, this. So I consider myself very lucky to have been given this opportunity. So thank you very much for that.